Hello friends, myself Mr. Sunil Devkar, Assistant Professor in the Department of English of RVNB Narendra Boroke College, Srirampur. Today I am going to deal with the poem Silent Steps, which has been prescribed to TYBA General English students for paper 3rd. So this famous poem Silent Steps, it is written by Rabindranath Tagore. So who is not familiar with the word Rabindranath Tagore? So who was Rabindranath Tagore? So we as Indians, we are proud to know that he is only the single Indian who has got Nobel Prize in English Literature for his literary work or collection of poems Gitanjali. So he was a poet, writer, painter, musician, freedom fighter and a social reformer. So he is also known as the Bard of Bengal. Bard means poet of Bengal. He is identified as the poet of Bengal, and he is also identified by the name of Gurudev. Gurudev is much more than a teacher. He is much more than a teacher. So his teaching was, I would say it was a philosophical teaching beyond professionalism. So it was a teaching directly attached to the philosophy and which directly appeals to the listeners to change or to know the word or what is spiritualism or where is God or what is life. So this concept he has very clearly explained, or that his thoughts, they naturally gave that kind of idea to all the readers. So he is composer of our national anthem Jana Gana Mana. So this national anthem, it was composed by Rabindranath Tagore himself, and even he has composed the national anthem of Bangladesh. As I was talking, that means he is known for his poetical collection of poems which was originally written in Bengali language in the year 1910. So the total collection of poems when it was written in Bengali language and it was published in the year 1910, at that time the total songs which were been composed in that collection, they were 157 poems, or we may call them as songs. So, and later these songs, they were translated in English language by Rabindranath Tagore himself. It was his best transcreation. So wholeheartedly all the emotions and the language and all it was added, and it became a complete collection even in English. The title was the same, Gitanjali, and it was published in the year November 1912. So the number of poems which were published in English, they were 103. So after publishing this Gitanjali, he was known by the world. So for his thoughtful genius, you can see he was a genius, and his thoughts naturally, it not only were limited to India, but he was known by the world. And that's why for his collection of Gitanjali in the year 1913, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in English Literature. So what is Gitanjali? It's a collection of poems, and it is a soul's voyage or journey to eternity through prayer. So it's a soul's voyage. So knowing self, knowing our own identity, who am I? So it has been very systematically explained in a philosophical manner by Rabindranath Tagore through his collection of songs, through Gitanjali. So his poems, they not only mingled with philosophy, but also ethics, moral values, they are reflected. So he went beyond this metaphysical existence, and overall he had a great patriotic spirit. So his great patriotic spirit, it is clearly reflected when he was awarded with the British crown of knighthood. With that award by the British government, he denied that award. Yes, it was bestowed in the year 1915, but after Jallianwala Bagh massacre, he denied that award which was been bestowed on him, the award of crown of knighthood by the British government. So we can understand, yes, he was a freedom fighter, he was a social reformer. So not beyond this, he can say as a poet, as a human. So he was a different kind of personality, which could be clearly reflected. So I would quote some examples. Yes, we have the Silent Step song number 43 for our study. But I will quote some examples where the mind is without fear is also song number 35 in our English collection of Gitanjali. So here he says, where the mind is without fear, one should not be frightened. Whom are we frightened of? We are frightened of ourselves. We are frightened of ourselves. Trust in ourselves. Trust in our work. Trust in our knowledge. It will lead to success. That is the theme of where the mind is without fear. So fear, that means fear is our enemy. And why we are fearful? Because it indicates the lack of confidence in ourselves. So eradicate this lack of confidence, naturally you can become successful in your life. So that thought, it has been expressed in his song, Where the Mind is Without Fear. Further he adds, that means one more example which I have taken here, live this chanting and singing and telling of beads. It is another song. So live the chanting. Chanting here in a sense, in Marathi we may call as mantra uchchar karne. So live the chanting and singing and telling of beads. Beads maal japne. So live this. That means here in this poem he has started, where is God? In a rhetorical form, where is God? God is not in the temple. He says God is not in the temple. God is not in the fourth square of that temple, in the dark room, the innermost room of the temple. So God is not there. Where is God? God is in the farmer who is sweating and working hard in the farm. In him there is God. And another example which he has given, God is in the tiller who is making the path. Who is making the path? He is breaking the stones, and with those stones he is making the path. In him there is God. So when they are at work, they don't look at their physical appearance. They are not bothered about the stains or the spots on their clothes, or they do not care for their facial appearance. They only care for their work. So the work done, that is important for them. So that is much more significant. And so he has given us the message, come out of the temple, live this hypocritical living. You will be successful in your life. And where is God? God is not in the temple. God is in hard work. Work is worship. So that message, it has been given in that poem. So that means his poems, in a single reading we can understand. They are not at all obscure. They are written in a freestyle. They are not at all obscure. But the thought in these poems, it is very important, and which he has focused in all of his poems. Next I'll turn, his another works in Bengali, Ghare Bairam, that means the home and the world, and the other Gora means fair face. These are his well-known works in Bengali literature. We are quite, that means Shanti Niketan. Everyone knows Shanti Niketan. The word itself, it indicates peace. Shanti Niketan, home of peace. And by this name, he opened a university in Shanti Niketan. So that university, it is known as Vishwa Bharati University. Vishwa Bharati University, or we may also call it as Shanti Niketan. At Shanti Niketan, it is a university which was started by Rabindranath Tagore himself in the year, that means on 23rd December 1921. Who is the Vice Chancellor of this university? Whosoever is the Prime Minister of India, he will be the Vice Chancellor of this university. At present, Chakravarti there, he looks after that university. So it is also, that means it is affiliated to University Grants Commission, and the accreditation, National Assessment and Accreditation Council. The assessment is also done after every 5 years, just like other universities. So it's a well-known university. Many foreign students and Indian students, they are enrolled in this university. Across 6,500 or up to 7,000 students, they are enrolled in this university every year. They take education. They knew the value of spiritualism. So that education is given here, and this education, that means the squad posts, they are in the open space under the trees. The classrooms, they are not that means in the four walls. They are outside the four walls under the tree, and the people, they take the natural education in the company of nature. So it is only the single university in India, or I would say even in the world, such kind of university where it is located in the open atmosphere, and the squad post, they are under the tree where the students, they sit and naturally they take the education. So you can say, that means I have already told you, you was awarded with British Crown of Knighthood in the year 1915. So these are different awards. First award I have already told you, that is the best, I would say, Nobel Prize, the highest award in literature, in English literature, and this at other side. So he was also award, that means among the top 500 poets, www.poetcenter.com, they have made a ranking of 500 poets, world famous poets. They have made one ranking, and among those poets, Rabindranath Tagore, his position is 8th among those poets, and we should be proud that he has secured that position. William Wordsworth is at 9th position, but Rabindranath Tagore is at 8th position. So we can understand why he can say the value or his thoughts, how they are praised everywhere. So this, in short, I wanted to give you brief information about Rabindranath Tagore. There are many things we can comment on Rabindranath Tagore, and we can speak continuously, but he, as a winner of Nobel Prize Award of Literature, I wanted to tell you certain things, so that which I have expressed here. Now I will turn to the poem. So in this poem, Silent Steps, it is song number 43 in his collection Gitanjali. It is taken from his collection Gitanjali. So here you want to say, that means the poem, the title itself is a paradox. How it's a paradox? He says there is God, but we cannot see. It's a paradox. Silent steps. So silent steps, it is what the theme itself of the poem is: presence of God and faith in God. Presence of God. Where is God? So where is God? So God is everywhere, but you can say we cannot see it. So it's a paradox. So the theme itself is presence of God and faith in Him, that is God. So faith in God. So the God is omnipresent. He is everywhere. He is in every place. So secondly, God is omnipotent. He is all powerful. And He is omniscient. So His presence is in everything. His presence is in everything. So this idea, that means he want to say that know the value of God. He can say we should, yes, at one side it is fear, we can't say fear of God, but respect of God, or you can say to respect the Creator, Father of this entire world is God. And under His, that means under His grace, the whole world it runs. To some extent, we may also call the theme of the poem, it's correlated to J.M. Hopkins, the famous poet of Victorian age. So his poem, God's grandeur, Vaibhav, God's sublimity, God is almighty, He is all powerful. So the same theme, or it runs here also, and is another, J.M. Hopkins, another poem, Pied Beauty. Pied means what? Multicolored, more than two colors. So in the whole world, entire world, the entire world is colorful. We human beings are colorful. Flowers are colorful. Nature is colorful. And the colors are colorful. The rainbow is colorful. And so this entire things, the colorful things which are been given to us, it's all due to the grace of God. It's all due to the grace of God. And so we should, likewise, we should thank God. We should thank God that such a beautiful, that means with your grace, our life, it has become much more fruitful. Now I will turn to the poem. The poem is just of 13 lines. So it is a short poem. Within a single reading, we can understand the poem. So just say, I will go through the poem. Silent steps. Have you not heard his silent steps? He comes, ever comes, every moment and every age. So these are the first three lines. Have you not heard? Have you not heard? The poem opens with a rhetorical question. The poem opens with a rhetorical question. Have you not heard his silent steps? Whose silent steps? That is the steps of God. So God is everywhere. And so, likewise, everyone, that means, as I have told you, the question, it is in a rhetorical form. Have you not heard? That means, have you not heard his silent steps? That means the steps of the God. The answer is everyone has heard the steps of God. So He comes, ever comes. He comes. That means God is, wherever you go, God is around you. God is around you. His presence is omnipotent, omniscient, or omnipresent. Everywhere there is God. So every moment and every age, every moment, there is now in the present moment, every age, yesterday He was there, today He is there, and tomorrow also He will be there. So God was there in the past, in the present, and will be there in the future. He is the eternal Spirit. The grace of God, it will be there in all time, in all ages. No one can overcome Him, His presence. Every day and every night, He comes, ever comes. So just see the refrain. Again He repeats the word, every day. So you can say, likewise, when He says, He comes, ever comes. Refrain again. Why you want to create? He want to create that the repetition of the sound comes. It is the coming of the God. It is the coming of the God. And His presence, that means without His presence, you are incomplete. So, whenever you do any work or whenever you achieve success, behind that success, yes, you should also give credit. It is due to the grace of God. Whatever you are today, I would say I am all because God was with me. God was with me, and that's why I am at this position. So further He adds, every day and every night He comes, ever comes. Many a song have I sung in many a mood of mind, but all their notes have always been proclaimed. So further He says, that means when He says many a song, likewise we are quite familiar. I will take one example of John Milton. John Milton, he wrote Paradise Lost. So in his mid-age, he was blind. Initially, he wrote the collection of that poem, that means his long poem, an epic, a heroic epic, which is divided into 11 books. So there we see, likewise, when he was blind, he wrote Paradise Lost. He called paradise as his own eyes. So when his vision, it was no more. So likewise, we see him as a complaining poet. But by the end of the poem, we come to know that he said, when he became famous, he said that it was the God's wish that I was blind, and that's why I wrote that heroic epic Paradise Lost. And he gives again the credit to the God. So whatever he says it was the wish of the God that I should become blind. He was the proper person that he could tell that means the fame of God, or he could sing the hymns of God. So in a similar manner, here also, Tagore, he admits, he has written more than 2000 songs. He admits it was all possible because of God that I have written these songs. So it was because that means God was with me. So that's why I could write all this song, and I give this entire credit to God. So further he adds, in the fragrant days of sunny April, through the forest path he comes, ever comes. So the fragrant days of sunny April, fragrant days of sunny April, that means in summers, that sunlight. Who gives us sunlight? God gives us sunlight. The changes, seasonal changes, they are being mentioned. So the poem is also a nature poem. God and nature and human being, we cannot separate. So even at one side, that means we may say the romantic nature, it has been presented, but in a philosophical manner. In a philosophical manner, he says all the changes in the nature, they all occur due to God in the fragrant days, April, everywhere there are flowers and the fruits, they are ripe. In the sunny April, the pleasant sunlight, through the forest path he comes. Where from he comes? So through the forest path. So the dense forest, the sunlight, everything, you can say it is all due to the grace of God. He comes, ever comes. Further he says, in the rainy gloom, next line, in the rainy gloom of July nights, June, July, August, we know these months, there is heavy rainfall. So you can say in the rainy gloom of July nights, on the thundering chariots of clouds, chariot, we know chariot in a sense, a wheel cart. On the chariot, naturally, he sits. Where does he sit? He sits on those black clouds which bring rains. So, where that may rain, without rain brings us water. Rain fulfills the thirst of human being. So, water is necessary. Sunlight is necessary. And further he says, God sits in the form. I would say that means he sits in the chariot on those clouds. But here you may say, in the form of those clouds, in the form of rain, in the form of those clouds, he comes and gives us rain. He gives us rain. And so in the rainy gloom of nights, gloom of nights means what? And during night time and during rainy season, everywhere there is darkness. The atmosphere is gloomy. But at the same time, on the thundering chariot of clouds, he comes. But the darkness, it leads to light. In the sense, the darkness is of rain. The darkness is of rain. The thundering of those clouds, what does it signifies? It signifies that means it is a symbol of rainfall. And it is all due to the grace of God. In sorrow after sorrow, it is the steps that press upon my heart. So yes, day alters night. Joy after joy, there is sorrow. And sorrow after sorrow, there is again joy. So the changes in the mood of human being, the changes in the mood of the human beings, they are also brought by God. So why these changes? They are also necessary. If there is eternal happiness given to you, you will not know the value of sorrow. Sorrow teaches us how to live life. It teaches, that means it changes your vision. So it makes us aware. Naturally, when you are in sorrow, it makes us aware. You pray to God. Why you pray to God? That yes, somewhere I was wrong. You correct yourself. You come on the right path again. And it's all due to God. So in sorrow also, we remember God. We take the name of God. And God, He always comes to our help. And the sorrow is eradicated. So likewise, in sorrow after sorrow, it is His steps that press upon my heart. It is His steps. Whose steps? God's steps. They press upon my heart. That means I become aware. I become aware. And so God, that means I become aware. Yes, due to God, whatever, that means we become aware of our situations, our problems. And God is, God takes out us of that situation. And it is the golden touch of His feet. Golden touch. What? Touching the feet. Touching the feet of the God, it is a blessing. It is blessing. You are taking the blessing of God. And so with the touch of the feet, it gives you energy. It gives you energy. It gives you, that means you are relieved. Your stress is relieved. And you again become happy. And it is all due to the presence of God that makes my joy to shine. That makes my joy to shine. So finally he concludes that without joy, that means joy and sorrow, these are the two wells. And without that, and these two wells naturally, whenever there is a voyage or journey of our life, God is there, and without God, we cannot achieve the eternal happiness in our life. So that's the theme which has been expressed in a proper manner, that presence of God and faith in Him, it should be there in us, and without that, we cannot become successful in our life. Thank you.